What's up, my Bakokos, Raid Pros, and Bonk Bros, Defender here, and welcome back to another video. Now, today I want to go over something I don't know whether to laugh or cry about, really. It's been a bit of a long process, and if you've seen my previous video on me spending it all after the Belshazzar raid, you might know what this is about. You can probably guess by what we're looking at on screen as well, and it is, of course, the plus 20 weapon in the Belshazzar gear. Now, this cost me a lot, and I want to go through it with you today, and why I think it was a huge mistake, and why I think you shouldn't do it, and if you are going to do it, the reasons why you should do it, I suppose, as well, because there's a lot to it, and a lot you can do instead with it. So, with that being said, let's get straight into the video. Now, much smarter people than I have already figured out that the weapon holding isn't the most efficient way to increase your damage, right? And I did it because I had such a successful run of honing previously in my other video after Belshazzar, where we went from, I believe it was plus 15 on the weapon, maybe plus 13, I can't remember, all the way up to plus 19 with relatively great honing luck. I believe everything was under maybe 5 to 6 taps. But I went to plus 19 and I thought, you know what, we've had some good luck, let's finish off plus 20 before hard mode. I had a 99 quality weapon from a lot of spending on gold on the quality, and I figured it would be a huge boost to push that last level, and we get that glow as well, right, which a lot of people chase, the weapon glow. And unfortunately, it didn't go to plan. So I actually went to pity, so 100% artisan, and obviously that's a guaranteed hone at that point. But I did the maths for it using max roll and their calculator, and worked out exactly how much it cost me to go to pity. And I remember doing 50% of the artisan fully juiced, then I ran out of my juicing materials, right? So the solar enhancement materials, the solar blessings, the solar graces, the solar protections. And so I did 50% of that, and then I thought, this is looking like it's going to pity. I probably should just raw tap the rest of them. And so that's what I did. I didn't use any more solar protections and solar enhancements, and I started saving those for hard mode now, so I've not used any of those since. And several weeks later, I've come to hit it on pity, and I come up with the costs. So what I've done is I've taken max roll's calculations for both the pity amount without any juicing and the pity amount with full juicing, and halving each, so 50% of each one, because that's what it was essentially. And we've got the numbers here of the totals combined and then halved. And I've converted it all into the gold costs. As you can see, it's an astronomical gold fee, and I've not included kind of the silver cost as well, because silver, I believe, 5 million silver, I believe you can get that yourself. You shouldn't have to convert gold to silver. That's something you can get in a week of playing if you have alts. But if we look at these numbers here, and I'll just do some quick maths off screen, then come back to you with the total.
2 hours later.
And so, combining all those numbers together on the right, minus the silver, obviously, we come up with 885,000 gold it's cost me in materials and gold for the honing as well to combine to get full pity on a plus 20 weapon. Now, that is a lot of gold, okay? And there's much better things you can do with that gold, and I don't want you to follow down these footsteps of mine, this path, and make the same mistake, because it is not efficient and it's not ideal, and chasing that is well, it was probably my biggest blunder to date. I think I've been quite smart with everything else, and I let the illusion of that final hone get the better of me, and the glow, I suppose, as well, was a little bit of the enticement. And I think that's the danger of honing, is falling into that trap of that last level or that one more hone. And you see people on streams getting their easy taps, and I think my success early on led me down that way. And so it's a learning experience for me, and I want you guys to learn from it before you make the same mistake, because it is a lot of gold. And obviously I didn't use that exact amount of gold in my honing because I had a lot of materials banked, and I used up all my reserves from saving up 6 months before Belshazzar. So it probably looks more like, I don't know, 300,000 gold of actual money, and then the rest of it was saved materials across all my characters on alts and stuff, and put in. But that cost, if we were to convert it into something more efficient, for example, because we know that the weapon gives you approximately 4.5 to 5%, depending on the level, maybe a little bit less on some of them, 4 to 5% damage increase, right, for a hone. There's better ways you can spend that. And if you look at something like this was a previous one made by High. This was the pre-Belshazzar sheet, so it looks at the kind of the cost per percent damage increase, and you can see the things that are most efficient. And obviously the weapon honing is great to begin with, And then as it gets higher and higher and higher, you can see that weapon honing is just not cost efficient compared to armor and gems and all the other stuff. But let's look at armor, for example, right? Because we're talking about honing. We're using honor shards, we're using leap stones, we're using the solars, we're using the materials, the destruction materials, or the guardian materials. And as you can see, it's a 4% increase here, and this is talking about the entire list of armor from one level to the next gives you about that amount. So the weapon versus 5 pieces of armor, they equal about the same. So what I did was I went to max roll again, and we took the values here, and I looked for something that's similar in the gold range and the fusions and leapstone range as above. So 101,000 it cost me in gold, and I looked for roughly the same amount. And as you can see, the numbers are slightly off on a few other things, but actually what we did was we figured out the value of all of these extra materials. So if we just were raw tapping armor, what we could do, and you could easily get yourself somewhere between 12 to 15, maybe even more armor levels across your gear with going to pity and raw tapping the entire way, and still have plenty of money left over. Okay, so if we take all these amounts here and we actually were to convert some into honor shards by buying pouches on the store, or the market, sorry, or for blue shards, even blue crystals if they're cheaper. The only difference is silver, and I believe you can afford to get 10 million silver over time if it's your main character. So silver aside, the only difference is you can easily get yourself 13 to 15 hones, which would accrue to, I don't know, 22, 25 eye level easily, versus the 1.66 eye level of the 19 to 20. So you're gaining a massive eye level difference as well, and you would gain approximately somewhere around 10 to 14% damage increase. I don't know the exact numbers, but if we're just going off the averages, you'd get something like a 10% damage increase overall, and you'd have money left over, several hundred thousand in raw material value left over. So it seems like a no-brainer, right? And in hindsight, that's exactly what I should have done. And now I know in the future that's what I will do, and chasing the weapon being the last thing, right? Or if it's like an incentive, maybe down the line with stretch goals with YouTube and streaming and stuff, if that's what people want to see, it could be something to do. But for the average person and for myself with alts and my main in the future, just hone armor efficiently. Okay, so armor across the board is going to net you much better returns than investing in your weapon. And obviously, with a weapon alongside it at the lower levels gives you a good amount of investment return as well. As we can see here, the first few levels before the end are actually very, very efficient in what you're getting for your value. And I think now that we're going to be getting Belshazzar hard, obviously we're going to get 5 more levels on top of our current level of armor, and then we're going into ancient. So the weapon again is going to go from plus 20 maximum to plus 25 maximum, which means, well, chasing this glow is kind of pointless, really, because it's just going to change again in the future, and it's not really worth its value. But that is what I've done, and I can't change that now. It's been spent. Now all I can do is hoard up and work towards the next goal and learn from this mistake. But please learn from this yourself. If you want to go down the route of chasing the weapon glow, plenty of people have. It's one of the best things people do for endgame is chasing the glow with the cosmetics. It's what people want to see. But in my opinion, it is a big mistake over the other efficient ways you can get your value. Like that 800,000 gold, for example, that could have got me 2 level 10 gems in damage, or maybe 3 if I gambled. So it's a bit of a blow, really, because those level 10 gems would obviously give me like a 10% increase over a level 9 gem for that ability, and several of them would essentially, if I had 3, for example, would up the damage of my main 3 finishing skills. So it's a bit of a blow, and yeah, there's not really much I can do about it now, but I hope you guys learn from this and, obviously make the choices you want to make with that information in mind, because that's really what I want to bring to you, is just more knowledge, more information on making the right decisions. But that is everything for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for your support as always. Please let me know what you guys are doing with your honing. Are you just trying to get your eye level up as much as possible for Belshazzar and the future Belshazzar hard mode? Are you saving alts for, materials for artist? Are you hoarding up on alts at the moment to spread across the board? Are you looking at just gearing up your roster as a whole so that everything is ready for certain content. As you can see, I only have one Belshazzar main clearing all 6 at the moment, and then everything else is kind of doing 1 to 4, and it's a little bit of a trickle down kind of a system for me. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Hope you have a great day. Peace.